I mean, this should come as no surprise to Andy Burnham, because he was part of the government in the mid-noughties that did a lot of the damage, because sentences rose and rose and rose. So our prison population has doubled since the 1990s. Prison sentences have got longer. And so demand for prison places has outstripped supply, and that continues to be the case. And there is a real problem now, because we monitor the figures every single week. You know, the Ministry of Justice publishes prison population figures every week, and they also give us an idea as to what the capacity is. We're on course to run out of places by November. So pausing this scheme is an option that the Prime Minister has taken. He has other options as to how to get out of this.
Was it the right option?
Well, it's interesting. It's not a perfect plan. It is the only plan that's been scrutinised by Parliament for more than a year and voted on by his fellow MPs. But the Prime Minister does have other options if he wants to get out of this. None of them are especially politically palatable.
Go on, and such as?
Well, I can think of four. I mean, I would look for... I mean, Steve just then gave a very eloquent sort of summary of where we are right now, and he referred to the backlog in the courts. And it's right to say that 1 in 5 people in prison right now is there because they're either awaiting trial or sentence. Now, some of those people will be suspected of very serious crimes, and the state won't want to release them. But there will be other people who are facing trial for less serious matters who we could give some consideration to having on bail until their trial hearing comes along. Similarly, there'll be people who are in prison on remand right now who, when they come to be sentenced, will be released straight away because they've spent so long on remand that will exceed whatever sentence they get. So that is one thing you could consider if you're looking for a pause in what's going on here. Another issue might be recall. Number 2 could be recall. So right now, as people understand it, you spend some of your time in custody and then you're released on license, and the probation, you know, the hard-working probation service are there to sort of monitor and try to guide you away from crime. And sometimes people are recalled to prison because they've not met the conditions of their license. Now, again and again, we see people being returned to prison on recall, not for the commission of new criminal offences, but because of things like missing appointments and that kind of thing. Now, that is another option you might want to consider if you're looking to create space in the system. A third option, number 3, might be women, most of whom are there not for violent offences. Now, you have about 10 to a dozen women's prisons across England, and you might want to consider clearing out one of those prisons. The other women's prisons aren't overcrowded, releasing some and moving some men into the prison that you've vacated. And the fourth option, some of your listeners might be aware of IPP sentences, imprisonment for public protection. This was a sentence introduced during the Andy Burnham government days back along in the mid-noughties. It's been abolished. It was unjust. It was unlawful. It was abolished in 2012, but we still have about 2,500 people in prison on that sentence, and surely a much more politically palatable option would be to end that ongoing unjust incarceration for 2,500 people on IPP sentences. Now, none of these options are especially attractive. None of them come without a great level of difficulty. But the elephant in the room here, Matthew, is that sentences keep getting longer. And it's interesting, some of the loudest critics of this scheme, which has been paused, have been people who have campaigned for years for longer sentences. And this is the situation that creates. Until you have politicians who are prepared to, take the braver option and really look at who we send to prison and for how long, this problem is just going to get kicked down the road and down the road and down the road. And we'll be having this conversation forever and ever.
I wonder